Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us at our 2020 Celebration of Service. We're delighted to have you. My name is Roseanne Mazzio, and I'm the Executive Director at Womenrising. On behalf of the board, my colleagues, the staff, and all of the community that we serve, we thank you for coming tonight and for your support. This is quite a different celebration than our usual meeting and greeting and get together in person. However, we do have much to celebrate, and we certainly want to do so. More than ever, it's important that we do celebrate. I want to acknowledge our premier sponsors for this event, MetLife and Lord Abbott. Thank you so much for your leadership gifts to this event and to Womenrising. And I want to acknowledge our gold sponsors, silver sponsors, and bronze sponsors, and all who have individuals and corporations who have helped support this event. All of us have seen evidence of service, especially in the past several months. During this COVID crisis, we witnessed, perhaps, and became more conscious for the first time of the generosity and selflessness of healthcare workers, first responders, and so many others who put their lives on the line in order to care for our communities. Thank you all. Throughout the year, we at Womenrising experienced the generosity of volunteers and individuals, corporations, small businesses, and a lot of the city and county agencies who assist us in serving clients throughout the year with the many and varied needs. So this is a celebration of those services as well. And thank you to those people. Tonight, we have two honorees, and we're happy to introduce to you Martha Lewin, who is our Above and Beyond honoree, and Lisa and Don Shoga, who will receive the Suez Corporate Partnership Award. You'll hear more from them later. Lastly, I would like to ask each of you to consider making a donation during the evening or at some other time to Womenrising to continue to support the vital services that we provide. Your donation of any amount will help our families today, tomorrow, and every day. Thank you.
Womenrising has a domestic violence service program where we are able to provide and connect victims with immediate services. Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior where one person gains and maintains control over another person in the relationship. Anybody can be a victim of domestic violence. It could be a person of any age, any race, any culture, any educational or employment, or even marital status. Domestic violence services are really important in the sense of meeting clients where they're at and helping them with the tools they need to make better informed decisions for themselves. Here at Womenrising, we provide a 24-hour shelter hotline to connect victims with immediate assistance if they need to go into a safe, undisclosed location. We also provide crisis intervention. We connect clients with advocacy, with referrals, with other services in the community that may assist them as well. And we also have developed partnerships with different programs in the community. For example, we have a partnership with the courthouse, both Superior and Municipal Court, to help victims navigate the legal aspect of domestic violence in terms of obtaining restraining orders and also court accompaniment. Another aspect of what we do is also having a partnership with the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, or DCPMP, formerly known as DIFAS. This partnership allows us to ensure the safety of children whose families are facing domestic violence, as well as the co-occurrence of child abuse or neglect. Womenrising is Hudson County's designated domestic violence service provider, meaning that we are the go-to place for domestic violence victims that are in need of services, of advocacy, of information, to be able to get to a safe place and be able to make better informed decisions for themselves. Also included in our domestic violence program, there is a focus on children who have been exposed to domestic violence. We currently have a program in a community that can treat children who have been traumatized by being exposed to domestic violence. It is called a Safe Spaces program, as well as the children who are in our shelter space. There is services offered to them so that they can be in a safe environment and hopefully start that healing process as well from the negative experiences that they've had prior to coming into our place. Our goal here at Womenrising's Domestic Violence Services is to provide comprehensive work, not only for the parents, not only for that single mom or women that are facing domestic violence, but also for their children, so that through education, through advocacy, we can break the cycle of domestic violence. We can help people heal from their trauma and move on to have a fulfilling life and enjoy what a healthy relationship should really look like. Our domestic violence program also offers support groups on a weekly basis. These are safe environments for people to come together and be able to really bond over this experience that they've had that normally nobody would want to disclose. Nobody would even feel safe enough to talk about. And that's the power in the groups. It's all these women getting together to share their experience, to learn from each other, and to really feel empowered to know that if someone else out there has had the same experience they've had and they're thriving and they've been able to move on, so can they. And this is really the magic behind support groups. It's one of the reasons why we enjoy being able to offer this. Keeping in mind the diversity in the community that we're located in, it's very important for us to offer services that meet the needs of those people that we serve. Our services are not only offered in English, but also Spanish, Arabic, and Southeast Asian languages. Yes, so the topic of diversity is very broad, right? And when we are trying to create a safe space for the victims who are entering into our shelter, we do try our best to meet those needs of diversity and that come also with culture. So at the shelter space, we do try our best to offer different choices. We also get feedback from the clients who are staying with us, what would be more suitable to their experience, to their culture, to their religious practices as well. If you are someone who is in imminent danger and you reach our 24-hour hotline services, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you will immediately get connected with a hotline staff member who will inform you of different possibilities, different services that Womenrising offers, such as the emergency domestic violence shelter, counseling services, legal advice as well, legal guidance in terms of obtaining restraining orders. For somebody who's facing this tough situation, they would automatically be connected to information, and we will help them make the better decision for themselves and for their children. Domestic violence is the age-old pandemic before the COVID-19 pandemic. Victims of domestic violence really faced even more difficulty during the last couple of months that we've experienced. We have to keep in mind that for domestic violence victims, they weren't just facing an external threat like the rest of us were, but they were also facing an internal threat right within the four walls of their homes. For these victims, it was a very crucial time to be able to access us in immediate, direct ways. And here at Womenrising, we had to reinvent ourselves overnight, pretty much, to be able to still connect with clients in their time of need. When I think back on the last couple of months, I am just filled with anxiety, with fear, with worry, and I know that a lot of our clients were going through the same emotions that we have experienced. It was a very difficult time for us as service providers to ensure that we were fully there, that we were fully present in this global crisis that we were all dealing with. And It really means a lot to me to have been able to be there, whether through phone calls, whether through any other platforms that were safe to utilize with our clients, to ensure that they could still get to us, that they could still receive information and advocacy, safety planning, connections with other service providers in the community in order to get to safety, because domestic violence doesn't stop. Before the pandemic, during the pandemic, this is something that we are continuously working on and want to be there to provide our services and assistance to clients as they need it.
So we provide counseling services. We can assist with advocacy, anyone who's dealt with a form of trauma, grief, trying to process anything that they have experienced that has either brought them to feel a decrease in self-esteem or lack of empowerment, and we provide them with the tools to be able to become self-sufficient. The Youth and Family Department within Womenrising provides free counseling services, and we provide services from anyone as young as 8 years old and above. We try to work with people where they're at and then move from there. So we do a step-by-step approach, and if there's a lot going on at the time, we say, okay, so what is something that we can accomplish today? What is something that when you leave this office you can feel a little bit better about? So that's what we really do hound on. So it can be a little bit daunting at first, but we try to take a step back and say, okay, this is what we're dealt with, and these are some steps that we can take to at least get somewhere. What these women lack is having someone listen to them. They've experienced so many things, they've been victimized, and it could be not just from their abusive partner, it could be family members who deem them to remain in abusive relationships due to cultural reasons, or friends who either take whomever's side, or children who even want their parents to stay together. So in this sense, we do provide them a listening ear and say, we hear you, we're here for you, and we want to do our best to help you feel better about yourself and whatever you decide to do moving forward. We are compassionate, where if someone is here and they're crying, we take, we're not looking at our watch and say, all right, let's speed it up, we got lunchtime coming. We give them as much time as they need to in order to feel comfortable with us, to want to share, because for employees, it could be just another person. When the person who's coming in, this is the first time they're actually saying out loud the abuse that they've experienced. So we try to acknowledge that. We try to feel with them and sit with them, and whenever they decide to either want to come back and start again, so we can go back and talk about things that they want to work on, we give them that space to do so. We do provide roughly 12 sessions. We see about the 5th session where the goals that they've established, they're starting to meet them if they've been meeting with the counselor consistently. And we definitely praise them for all the work that they've done, because not only is counseling services us giving them the tools, but they also take those tools out into their own personal lives and include them in their everyday routine. And we do hold them accountable for it, so we do ask them and we make sure. So usually around the 5th session, we see them beginning to accomplish certain goals, and the remainder sessions really focus on consistency and how they can make this into a routine instead of just a regular goal that they've accomplished. It is a lifestyle change for the clients, where they can come in and say, I can't obtain a job, or I can't learn the English language, or I can't be the parent that my kids want me to be. And through the services that we provide to them, they start to see within their own eyes this new version of themselves flourish. Some resistance that we get is a lot of self-doubt in regards to what they can and cannot do, because with abuse from any sense, whether it be from a partner or a parent or a roommate that they've lived with, it's been someone telling them that they can't do something or they don't have the ability to do something. And we want to make sure that even though that resistance is brought, it's something that's been taught to them, and we just want to reverse that form of thinking for them and combat any negative thoughts so they can change it to then positives to empower them. Abusive pattern can definitely stem from youth, and it could be seen within parents, grandparents, aunt and uncles, anything that they've been exposed to, and that will come through in young adulthood or older adulthood. And until that cycle is broken through seeing someone in the professional setting and being able to talk and freely express their concerns or what they've experienced and the trauma that they've had, is when we can begin to work on breaking that cycle. An example is a client that was seeking to increase her self-esteem after leaving an abusive situation, obtaining a restraining order, and having to start from zero. She had no money, no furniture, and had recently just gotten employed. And through the work, through assisting her and obtaining a job, assisting her and obtaining legal services so she can work on her immigration status and becoming a permanent resident, also providing her the tools to cope, increase her self-esteem through different activities of self-care that she can do on a daily regimen, and also connecting her child to therapeutic services since the child was also exposed to the abuse that was happening into the home, to continue to form their parent-child bond. And after some time working through it, I want to say around the 8th session of services, she was able to have her home fully furnished. Womenrising was able to support her in getting kitchen supplies, so she was able to cook for her and her daughter, and that was also a bonding activity, and they like to make cupcakes together, so they've been doing that every weekend. And she's been able to hang out with some friends that she hasn't been able to hang out with. She has felt better about her body image. She's applied makeup, she's done her hair, she's changed up her wardrobe. Womenrising supports families and children through self-sufficiency and crisis intervention, especially within the youth and family department. We have counselors who man phone lines throughout the day to help anyone who is in need of additional referrals or to have gained access into our programs. What inspired me the most about that client was her energy when she was going through our sessions and said, yeah, I can definitely do that. I can definitely focus on myself more. I can definitely push my limits. And seeing her do that and watching her laugh, watching her talk to me about all her future plans. She wants to visit her family again in December when she gets some documentation in from immigration, giving her the okay to travel. Her face just lights up, and it just makes me feel so good seeing how far she's come. The most motivating thing for me is seeing individuals come in nervous, scared, not sure what other paths that they're going to go through, and seeing the counselors I supervise providing them the tools to help, and months later being thankful, receiving hugs from them, receiving letters, receiving paintings. We have them all over plastered through our office of signs of gratitude from our clients that they came in with an initial mindset and they're leaving with hope.
Priority is women and families, vulnerable populations, raising up and empowering women, and we know that women are key in terms of the health and welfare and education of their families. So if a woman is able to get the health care she needs, she assures that the family does. If women participate in the economy, it's shown around the world that economies do better, local economies do better, so we're very focused on self-sufficiency of women and families. And all of the programs relate in some way to achieving that goal. So we can't help the clients become self-sufficient if the organization isn't self-sufficient. We are a small business. We're a nonprofit, but we're a small business. So we are experience especially during economic downturns, losses and difficulties that make it more challenging to recover from. Family preservation and family dynamics, especially during COVID, has become more challenging because of this added stress, both in terms of economic resources, but also in terms of social interactions. I'm honored to present to you the honorees for the Suez Partnership Award tonight, and that is Lisa and Don Chaga of the Chaga Group. Lisa and Don are passionate about the services that we provide to women and their families, and they will talk specifically about how integral that is in their lives and throughout their lives.
Thank you so much for honoring me with this Above and Beyond award. I am accepting it with enormous gratitude and humility. Being a part of Women Rising is among the most important things in my life, so the award means just so much to me. And I want you all to also know that my story here is the story of a huge number of dedicated, insightful women. All the years I was here, and some of the years before I was here, a really, how do you say, a cavalcade of women who believed in the community and believed that they could do something meaningful. So I feel honored to be in their footsteps as well. So thank you very much. The work then and the work now was just really remarkable. The care for families, I say it was partly learning through the battered women's work. When we first started, we called it the Battered Women's Shelter. Imagine, the language was outrageously primitive. But we started it as a shelter. That's what we did with people from Bayonne and people from the National Organization of Women, all volunteers. But what we learned was so much about the needs of women. Being safe was only one thing. The whole business of jobs and self-esteem and independence. It's a great place. This is a great place. I think the two things, the focus on women and families and the enormous needs that low-income women have, I think is just crucial. I hope I'm still promoting that wherever I go. And I think the notion that people who work here should feel like they want to work here, that it's a choice that they make, that it's not a job. It's a job, but it's not only a job. We were talking about hope, and I don't know what somebody, not me, said, well, we have to be hopeful. And he said, well, hope isn't hanging around in the atmosphere. Hope is something you create. You put it into the atmosphere. You help create hope for people. So that's what they're doing here, even still today. I would say there are staff people who came here thinking they were ordinary, and they were not. After a while, you could see they were not ordinary at all. Some of them are still here. And some of them may not still be here, but were here for a very long time. So there's a lot of longevity here. I wish that we lived in a country where people understood that volunteerism doesn't solve a problem when there's no money. That what this group could do with a little more money is phenomenal. I mean, really. I can think of 2 or 3 other things in the whole of my life that were as important as this. And one of them is Jack, so I don't know what the third one will be. I have to give it some thought.
I'm honored to present to you the honorees for the Suez Partnership Award tonight, and that is Lisa and Don Chaga of the Chaga Group. Lisa and Don are passionate about the services that we provide to women and their families, and they will talk specifically about how integral that is in their lives and throughout their lives.
Now, we're honored to receive the Sheer Suez Corporate Sponsored Award.
And what?
Well, because Women Rising is an organization that we have a tremendous amount of respect for. We are just so, I had the pleasure of touring this facility a few years ago, and I was just so impressed with the amount of support that are given to women and children in need. Between the counseling that they receive, between the transitional housing services they receive, I just found it very, very impressive, and also the way they're able to rise these people up from the most difficult situations that they encounter, and how they're able to just move on and succeed in life. It's a true success story.
And again, with the nicest thing for us is that to receive the Suez Corporate Award, and it's the first year that they're awarding it to another person. It's an honor for us because Suez and Sugar have the same type of philosophy of giving back to the community. Throughout the year with Women Rising, for example, we just did the back to school book bag giveaway that are filled with school supplies for the needy kids here in Jersey City, and we gave a bunch to Women Rising to give away. We're a corporate sponsor with Suez with the golf outing, so that's a great, which is coming up in a few weeks, which is a great opportunity again to give back to the community. So it's pretty simple between A, our background, the way we grew up, B, having a service partner like Suez to guide us and we work with them, and then have a phenomenal organization like Women Rising. It's a no-brainer because we are truly building the foundation of the next generation. If people didn't do what they did for my family, and if people didn't give back to us, I don't think we would be sitting here today. I don't know what my future would have been, but I do know what my future is because of the backbone that I had from the community in West Orange. I've been privileged and honored to grow in West Orange. My tagline has always and will always been, I wasn't raised in West Orange, I was raised by West Orange. So now here being a corporate client, a corporate contractor here in the great city of Jersey City, the same philosophy I had as a kid growing up on Main Street, pulling my wagon and going to the local taverns and shining shoes, I have today as a business owner. What does that mean? It's important that the communities that we're working in, that we're involved in, it's important that the companies that we work for, like Suez, we're involved with the community. And when you put the three together, Suez, Sugar, and Women Rising, it's a win. It's not a win for each of us, it's a win for the next generation.
It truly takes a village to raise a child. And most of the women that come here are single moms, and it really takes a village and a community to get them to the next step. And the way they empower women to get back into the workforce, and just the counseling that they received. I mean, when I was here on the tour a few years ago, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I met with each individual from the different departments, and I was just so impressed on how these women are able to go and have counseling. They're able to have counseling with not just with themselves, but they actually also offer family counseling, which is really, really important, and how they really get them back into the workforce and how they empower them. And, we really believe in their mission. Their mission is very, very impressive, and that's another reason why we find Women Rising to be such a successful place. I would say that I would encourage you, if you can donate to this organization, I would say this is an organization that you would definitely be very instrumental in turning around a lot of lives. People here are really in need, and they're willing to step up. They're willing to step up, they're willing to work, and I would encourage those people to donate any way they can to help with this organization.
This year we're going to be making a $10,000 donation in memory of my mother. My mother was the strongest woman that I've ever met. I've been blessed in my life to have two amazing women in my life. First and foremost, my mother, who can never be replaced. And second, my wife, my business partner, the mother of my children, who can and will never be replaced. This year, Lisa and I have agreed to donate in memory of our mother $10,000. My mother raised 5 of us on her own. Unfortunately, my sister was terminally ill and passed away at the age of 25 of cancer. of kidney disease. My mother couldn't afford to bury her. The Mayor's Sunshine Fund in West Orange paid for her funeral. Growing up in West Orange, the church helped us. The church would bring food baskets to our house during the summer, during the holidays. My mother would shop, and she would at the local ShopRite on Dodge Street in East Orange, New Jersey. When she would go pay with food stamps, I would run outside because I didn't want people to see my mother pay with food stamps. I'm proud to say today that same ShopRite is our corporate headquarters, where we employ over 120 people, where we employ a prisoner reentry program, where we're one of the largest employers of minorities in the city of East Orange. So giving back to the community is so important because I sit here today only because of 3 reasons: my faith and my belief in God, my mother being my rock, and absolutely the community that I was raised in that was always there. I have said, and I will always say, I wasn't raised in West Orange. I was raised by West Orange. I'm proud to say that, but I'm more proud that the same philosophy that people did for me growing up we're doing, Lisa and I. And when Suez came to us as a corporate partner and recommended getting involved with Women Rising, we didn't hesitate. We didn't hesitate because A, it's an amazing, phenomenal organization that is helping the current generation and it's building the foundation for the next generation. B, we're proud to be a service partner with Suez in the great city of Jersey City. Some will say it's the largest city in New Jersey. Some will say it's the second. But it's #1 city in New Jersey with organizations like Women Rising, organizations like Suez. And we're just proud to be part of it. And at the end of the day, it's not what we do today, it's how we build tomorrow.
We want to take this time to thank our community supporters for their donations, for their contributions, because without your generosity and your outpouring of love, we would not be able to do the amazing work that we do here at Women Rising. Thank you for allowing us to make extraordinary differences in the lives of every woman, every child, and every family that we service. From the bottom of our hearts and on behalf of our clients, we thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight. We hope to see you all soon. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.